I'm Francesca Maxime.
And I'm Matt McClure, and this is Currents.
A new Catholic school in Brooklyn, unlike any other. We'll show you why.
We had about a year's worth of work in this building to do within that very short period of time, and we got it done.
It may look like Bring Your Pet to Church Day, but it's much more than that.
It's a special time to be together with their animals at a religious service or at a church like this.
And Italians celebrate a saint from the old country.
I think he epitomizes what Italian people see about religion.
Good evening and thanks for joining us this Monday. Well, a new school in Brooklyn opened its doors last month and it is unlike any other. Tuition is free thanks to an anonymous donor who's given millions of dollars just to support it.
Well, the school is called the John Paul II Academy. It's in Bushwick and is on the site of the former St. Barbara's School, which has been closed for more than 30 years. Now, to qualify for the school, families must be at or below the poverty line and sign a covenant to continue their kids' Catholic education at home.
It is a remarkable undertaking, and we wanted to find out more about it. So we sent our cameras to St. Barbara's Parish this past weekend for a special mass and to find out how this new school came to be.
We have an anonymous benefactor who learned that the Brooklyn Diocese was in a position where they had to close a number of Catholic elementary schools, one of which was his own. And he credits his success in life to his upbringing and his education, his elementary education, kindergarten through grade 8 in a Catholic elementary school. So he went to see the bishop and he asked if he could do something to save Catholic education in Brooklyn. And working with Bishop DiMarzio and Bishop Caggiano, an idea emerged to create an academy in a neighborhood in Brooklyn that was predominantly Catholic, yet economically challenged. And what we decided to do at that point was create a small environment, pre-K through grade 2.
Actually, when I saw the school at first, I didn't think we would ever come this far. The school was really a mess. We did not have anything and no furniture. Everything was very dirty. Windows broken, water not running properly. So we didn't think that we were able to finish all the work by September.
Taking over a school that was closed for over 30 years, it was very important to make sure that the building became absolutely welcoming, safe environment, clean, healthy, and appropriate for children. So we had contractors in from June 1st straight up until September 1st, really. We had about a year's worth of work in this building to do within that very short period of time. And we got it done.
And so this school invite us to live our faith. The covenant that they signed really help them to live the faith that the church teaches.
The covenant is a big challenge for parents, a great challenge for parents because it's very demanding. But in exchange, they will have their children educated in the right way, and their children will be successful because of the discipline that they will be receiving in this school.
This is one of the problems we've had with Catholic education. People have basically used it as a surrogate for better schools, but they haven't committed themselves to make sure that the children are getting a Catholic education by the example of the parents. So this is the unique difference here, that the parents committed themselves today with a covenant to come to Mass with the children so that they're backing up what we do in school in the family.
Well, I believe the parents take this very seriously because they've been coming to church. And most of the children who are attending the school, they from St. Barbara's. And I know them very well because they already were coming to Mass on Sunday. And so I know the faces of the children. So they already were practicing their faith. And it's not that they making this covenant in order to receive a free education. They are people already of faith, that they are practicing and living their Catholic faith.
This school is very special. First of all, because it recognizes parents as the first educators of their children. And we impress upon the parents that we are not here to do the job for them. We are here only to help them.
I don't feel obligated to have to go to church. I want to go to church. Now, my son wakes me up and tells me, Mommy, we have to get ready to go to church. It's Sunday. You know, my teacher said, Sister Mary Kuti said we have to go to church on Sunday. And so, you know, it's great seeing your child knowing about church, doing his prayers before meals, praying before he goes to bed. And so it's something that I want to be a part of.
The John Paul II Academy in Bushwick, Brooklyn.
And we have much more on Catholic education in the diocese over on our website, including an interview with Bishop Frank Caggiano on preserving the vision. It's a new approach to Catholic education in the diocese.
Just head over to currentsny.net and search for Preserving the Vision. But first, stay tuned. We have much more current straight ahead. Coming up, the day's headlines, including a look ahead to the new Supreme Court term.
And the South Pacific continues to recover from last week's natural disasters. What you can do to help. Welcome back to Currents. I'm Matt McClure.
And I'm Francesca Maxime. Coming up a little bit later, how time flies, marking the 800th anniversary of the Franciscans.
But first, let's have a look at today's headlines. Rescue workers are still searching for survivors in Indonesia after devastating hurricanes rocked the island nation. Some of the hardest hit places are churches. CNN's Dan Rivers has more.
In Padang, the delicate search for survivors has given way to clearance with heavy machinery. A sign that here at the Ambachang Hotel at least, there is now no hope of finding anyone else alive. The search and rescue teams that have been carefully probing the rubble for days have little more to do but look on as the mountains of debris are removed. Within sight of the destroyed hotel, a church service held outside dedicated to those that died. The congregation laced with grief and shock, unable to pray inside for fear of more aftershocks. It's left the Catholic buildings here unusually quiet for a Sunday. This 100-year-old chapel is in ruins. Thankfully, there was no service here on Wednesday when the building swayed and then collapsed.
When I see the church was broken, I'm very, very sad.
Across the street, another church with a gaping hole to heaven above the altar.
For the 6,000 or so Christians in Padang, Sunday has been a day to reflect on the awful destruction done to their community, but also in some cases to give thanks. Take, for example, this church. On Wednesday afternoon, the choir were due to hold practice right here. Thankfully, none of them had arrived when the earthquake hit.
It's shaken this community to its core, leaving some questioning their faith.
I'm really sad. I'm really sad. I say to Jesus, why this can happen? We will all love you, but how can this happen?
Searching questions of faith in this time of crisis for this small Christian community living in the world's largest Muslim country. They're salvaging what they can and are starting to think about the long, slow process of rebuilding.
That's CNN's Dan Rivers reporting. Now back here in Brooklyn, this upcoming weekend, Bishop DiMarzio is asking parishes to hold a special collection for those in the South Pacific. Well, that money collected will go to Catholic relief services and the diocese of the areas affected. To find out what else you can do to help, visit the Catholic Relief Services website at crs.org.
In Washington yesterday, 5 of the 6 Catholic Supreme Court justices attended the annual Red Mass. It is a special celebration for Catholic lawmakers. Cardinal Daniel DiNardo of Galveston, Houston, reminded those that were attending that Mass that in many cases, people who are represented by lawyers are voiceless and lack influence. And today, the opening of the new Supreme Court term, among the cases that they'll be deciding whether a cross on public property in the Mojave Desert can stay put. We get more now from CNN's Kate Baldwin.
You could very easily drive right by or mistake it for a forgotten billboard in the middle of 1.6 million acres of desert. But inside is a cross boarded up by order of a federal judge, a cross creating a huge constitutional controversy. How many miles do you guys travel from your home to come take care of the memorial?
Well, we don't really take care of it now because of the box, but we're 160 miles away from it now.
Henry and Wanda Sandos have been the unofficial caretakers of what has for decades been known as the Mojave Memorial Cross, first erected in 1934 by their friend, a World War I veteran, to honor fallen soldiers.
We just love our veterans, and we feel that they should be honored.
Yes.
And this is, right here in this little piece of our world, that's how we did it.
But it also sits in the Mojave National Preserve, government land, and some now argue that cross is violating the constitutional guarantee of separation of church and state.
Well, what Mr. Buono wants is neutrality and a complete remedy here.
Peter Eliasberg is the ACLU attorney for Frank Buono, a former ranger who worked in the preserve, the man who filed the original lawsuit. While Buono is Catholic and a veteran, he says the Mojave Cross should go.
For the government to say, we're going to impose on each and every one of you veterans this religious symbol, even though for many of you it is not your religious symbol, that is not an appropriate expression of religion in public life.
Jewish and Muslim veterans groups support Buono, but attorneys for the veterans of foreign wars and the Sandoses say the cross is a historical memorial, not a religious symbol, warning the outcome of this case could have far-reaching implications.
And this is the first one that's going up to the Supreme Court, and they want to make sure that this one prevails so that all the veterans memorials with religious imagery across the country can be protected.
Why not just take this memorial, same cross, same memorial, and just move it to a less controversial location?
It was put here by the veterans, for the veterans of all wars, and that's where it should stay.
In recent years, the Supreme Court has taken a case-by-case approach on this issue, allowing the Ten Commandments to remain on public property in a Texas case, the same day ruling a display of the Ten Commandments in a Kentucky courthouse unconstitutional. With its caretakers anxiously standing watch, it's now up to the High Court to decide the fate of this cross.
I hope it won't be too long before we'll be able to look at the cross again instead of a stupid box.
Really, we'll repaint it.
No matter the outcome, this case could be a major test of if and where the government will draw the line when it comes to any private expression on public land.
And that is CNN's Kate Baldwin reporting there. Well, among the other cases the Supreme Court will hear, a challenge to gun control at the state and local level.
Well, stay tuned. There's much more currents coming up straight ahead.
Coming up, a blessing of the animals on the feast of their patron saint.
Closer to anyone's heart is their pet, and so people come.
Well, yesterday was the feast of St. Francis of Assisi, a very special day for a couple of reasons.
Yeah, Francis is probably best known as the patron saint of animals.
He is, but at many parishes in Brooklyn and at Queens over the weekend, they offered special blessings of the animals, something they usually do every year.
Yeah, that's right, and we actually sent our cameras out there this year to have a look at it, to one such blessing at St. Edmund Church in Gravesend, Brooklyn. Have a look.
As we celebrate this wonderful feast of St. Francis, and we especially look towards our pets, whom we love with all our hearts, as we ask to St. Francis that the Lord bless them and all creation. Today we had the honor and the privilege of blessing the pets of parishioners and others who came to join us on this Feast of St. Francis.
It was bigger than in past years because in the past we've always had blessing of the animals for the Feast of St. Francis. This year we combined it with a pet adoption. I think it was very successful. The turnout was good. A couple of Lori's animals were fostered and hopefully going to be adopted.
Today was a blessing of the animals and a combined adoption and foster event. In Brooklyn, we've had over 600 families and individuals who fostered an animal for us until a permanent home can be found for it. And we've rescued close to 2,000 animals. at least 1,000, 1,200 off the euthanasia list on Linden Boulevard at Animal Care and Control. And we hope to rescue a lot more.
So we picked the Feast of St. Francis and the blessing of the animals, and people are able to come and get the special blessing, and people really love it. It turns out that we don't only have Catholics coming, it's interdenominational, it's non-sectarian. We have all different types of people coming and bringing their animals. And it's a special time to be together with their animals at a religious service or at a church like this, and it's just, they're able to share that time with them at such a special event.
Closer to anyone's heart is their pet. And so people come, and people even remember their deceased pets. And there are a lot of pets who are sick, so we also take care of them too. And we give a scroll and a prayer, a blessing and a medal. And so this year was a special year with the pet adoption.
Please consider fostering an animal for us. So many people are having to give up their pets, and they're filling the shelters, and they're being put down every day. A couple of hundred animals get put down here in New York City. If you'd like to foster, please get in touch with us at brooklynanimalfosternetwork.org. Tell us what kind of a cat or a dog you're looking for, age, color, size. We can match you up. Thank you.
So many great animals there.
Yeah, well, you don't need to go to this animal adoption because you already did it, right?
I know. I adopted a retired racing greyhound over the weekend. Her name is Sophie, and I think we've got a picture of her here. She's so cute. There she is.
Oh,
she is adorable, and she's she's kind of small for a retired racing greyhound. She's about 55 pounds, I think, and she is just great. She's full of life and and a little bit of energy, because greyhounds are pretty much couch potatoes anyway. They're used to lying around, 7-8 hours at a time.
After racing day.
Right. Well, they'll go and they're sprinters, and then after that, boom, they lay back down.
Done.
So
they're done.
So
did you take her to get blessed yesterday?
I didn't have the chance to.
Oh, okay.
I did take her though. I live in Manhattan, as you know, and I took her to Greyhound meetup group that they have. So they're like 7 or 8 Greyhound owners kind of in the Upper West Side area there, and we all met in Central Park. It was really cool.
Very nice. Well, I like that. I like that little mass yesterday.
Right.
I love the pugs and even a lizard or something.
I know
in
the
there.
little guy holding the cage up.
Too much. Okay, well, stay tuned. There's much more current straight ahead.
Coming up, more on St. Francis, an anniversary for men and women who practice his way of life.
He was a man who did not use complicated ways of teaching. It was a very simple way of witness.
Well, you just saw a special blessing of the animals at St. Edmund Parish in Gravesend, Brooklyn. And that was one of many pet blessings in the diocese yesterday on the feast day of St. Francis of Assisi, who is, of course, the patron saint of animals.
But that's not all. St. Francis is also the patron saint of Italy, and Italians from around Brooklyn and Queens gathered at Our Lady of Guadalupe in Dyker Heights for the occasion, a celebration of the 800th anniversary of the founding of the Franciscan Order. Our cameras were there to take it all in.
This year they celebrated the 800th anniversary of the foundation of the Order of St. Francis. And so the Mass is dedicated to St. Francis, which is today's feast day, October the 4th. The day before the Mass, they took the statue of St. Francis in pilgrimage around the area here. Each year, the Italian apostolate goes to a different parish to celebrate its annual Mass, so that each parish has an opportunity to host it. We have about 35 parishes that still have Italian Mass, and they would be the ones generally that would come. Their priests would come with them, the people. A lot of them came by bus. Some of them in the neighborhood came on their own. So it's a wonderful celebration.
I'm very honored to be here as Deputy Consul General of Italy, not only because San Francesco is one of the saints personally I feel closer to, but also because San Francesco is the patron saint of Italy.
San Francesco, prega per noi, viva l'Italia, and God bless America.
I think he epitomizes what Italian people see about religion. The fact is also that the Italian language was just coming into use in Francis' time, so he was probably one of the first to use Italian because they were coming out over the Latin and various dialects, but the formation of the Italian language happened just around the time of St. Francis living on the earth. He was a man who did not use complicated ways of teaching. It was a very simple way of witness. One of his most famous sayings that you can preach even without using words, that going around, doing good, ministering to people was the best sermon you could give. And also the love of poverty. Franciscan poverty is one of the things that goes with the humility of St. Francis. So those things are eternally attractive. People are attracted by that type of holiness and sanctity. So I think that's why the message is really eternal.
We are representing the Italian in Brooklyn, I guess in Queens and the all 5 boroughs. And we're honoring St. Francis and the Madonna of Pompeii. And we have to thank the policemen and everybody, the Our Lady of Guadalupe, all the monsignors, they got together and made this beautiful procession where they really make us feel proud of being Italians. And we make really feel proud to be Catholics.
Bravi, bravi.
Like a great celebration there.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, I was actually named after St. Francis. So in Italian, it's, you know, an I for a, or I should say in English, an I for a guy and an E for a woman.
Yeah.
And, but my mom really espoused a lot of what he was just saying there, Bishop Marzio, about, you know, the sanctity of poverty and holiness and how people really respect that and carries over. I'm not saying I'm really great at espousing that personally, but I just think that the philosophy of that was very much in her heart when she named me and she had me.
Yeah, well, it's great. And you know, the message of St. Francis really goes, I think, beyond. You know, we often associate him with animals and the blessing of the animals, and that's wonderful, of course, and a great association. But also, another point that Bishop Marzio made there was that, you know, St. Francis always said, you know, you can preach without using words. So kind of a live by example sort of thing. And I think that's something that we don't need to forget.
I think there is always ample opportunity for people to do that because it is a lot harder to do as you do,
as you
or
do.
whatever.
Exactly, because the saying goes, do as I say, not as I do.
Right.
Don't do that.
Right. Well, that's all for this edition of Currents. Tomorrow we have a 100-year-old Brooklyn woman, 100, telling us the secrets, or her secrets anyway, to a long life.
We'll look forward to it. But until then, remember, you can always catch us online. Just head over to currentsny.net. There you can see clips of the show. You can also check out our blog. It's called Riding the Wave.
And we also have a continuously updated Facebook fan page, and you can head over to facebook.com/currentsny. It's real simple, and there it is on your screen. So for all of us here at Currents, I'm Francesca Maxime.
And I'm Matt McClure. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great night.